A natural unsettling must occur. This is the bridge in which many shadows are visible. These shadows are unsettling, yes. Seeing them is necessary. Seeing them is the necessary catalyst for the undoing that must follow, the undoing in the name of liberation. A natural unsettling must occur for the deeply held roots, the solid, old, initial, outdated foundation to be taken down. This is something that we're here for, that we are equipped to handle, that we are an essential part of. Trust that you are for this time. Hi, and welcome to this channeled message that I'm calling the Bridgework of Liberation, about a interesting time that we're moving into where things may feel chaotic, unfamiliar, destabilizing, on our way to something better, something more liberating. If you haven't been here watching one of these videos with me, hi, my name's Sarah Vermont. I channel, I receive messages and visions, and usually they're about future-focused, collective, global stuff. And so that is precisely what I'm delivering here for you today. In my normie life, I'm actually a career coach. I have a company called Careergasm. I help people with career changes. Prior to that, I was a business professor. So I have this, really deeply grounded practical side and also this really deeply intuitive side. And what I like to do with this work is really bridge both of those things, channeling, using my deeply intuitive side to get the messages, and then using my more practical side to help interpret these things, to help us make sense of what's coming and how to navigate through things as smoothly as possible. So I am going to move right into the channel. It's just something I record using a voice recorder on my phone. So I'm going to put a little image over it while you listen to that. It's about 13 minutes long. And then I will swing back afterwards and we can unpack it together. This is about liberation. This is about ease. Liberation and ease. This is to come. This is the joyful place you will arrive. Liberation is a process. Liberation is an active process on the part of the individual to be liberated. The breaking free, the struggle, the short period of chaos. This is the key. This is the path to liberation. You are on this path currently, the path of the active phase of liberation, the liberation that will also deliver ease. You look at these times and think liberation, ease, certainly not. But we say the path to liberation is this. We say this is the path you're on. It looks very dark currently, but there is a slash of light moving through this liberation, this initial, hidden, invisible phase of liberation in which it looks
anything but. This slash of light will grow, is growing. This slash of light is expanding in hearts, in minds, in systems, here, everywhere. This slash of light is visible only in the moments of quiet currently. Can you hear this in the moments of quiet? Can you see this in the moments of quiet? Can you feel this in the moments of quiet? The whisper of liberation amid a time that feels chaotic. In order for you to settle into this next phase, first there is an unsettling period. This period is essential. This period fills with light. This period is essential to liberation. A natural unsettling must occur for the deeply held roots, the solid, old, initial, outdated foundation to be taken down. This is good. This is good, and this is also troubling, chaotic. We understand. We understand the descent into chaos, the feeling under the bridge that we are passing through. Passing through means temporary. Remember this. This is a passage that we are moving through. This is a necessary, heroic passage on the part of humanity at this time. This is the bridge time. This is the bridge in which many shadows are visible. These shadows are unsettling, yes. Seeing them is necessary. Seeing them is the necessary catalyst for the undoing that must follow. The undoing in the name of liberation. This is essential heart work. This is essential heart work for humanity, for you, for humanity. Do not disengage from the light element of this time. In contemplation times, when you think of this time of rapid, of chaotic transition, consider the light. Remember the light. The light is in you, and you are in the light. Moving forward, more light will be allowed to be shown. This change, this liberation, this active bridging time is momentary, is imminent, is essential. You are essential. You are energy, and you are for this time. Trust that you are for this time. The energy in this hall, this arena, this center, earth, is shifting, growing, expanding. Expanding needs more room. This future vision needs room, needs mobility, needs flexibility to grow. It will not grow in a stale, stagnant energy. It will not grow within the confines of this current system. It is making room to grow. Like roots sprouting from a seed and winding, reaching outward. This energy is steadying. This energy is moving outward, reaching outward, taking hold so that it may grow. This is sacred work. This work will reach you. This energy will reach you. Nourish this energy. Water this energy. Nurture this energy in you. Nurture this energy in you. This is your role. The energy nurtured in you is expansive. It grows. It duplicates, replicates, doubles, triples, expands exponentially. Nurture this light. Nurture this seed. Nurture this liberating work. Do not forget to turn inward. You will feel compelled. You will feel urged. You will feel it necessary to move into this work in an external way. This is good. And do not forget the internal element of this work, the unyielding, the unshackling, the undoing of the constraints. To be confronted with the systems that chain you, that limit you, that to be in awareness of all that constrains you is both enlightening and frightening. Allow this. Allow this insight. Allow this knowing. This knowing plants the seed. This knowing sprouts the light. Nurture this work. You are for this. This time is fleeting only. Remember this. This time is the liberation, the active liberation. Trust in your liberation. Trust in the liberation of your children, your loved ones, for everyone. This is the bridge work.
Okay, you're back. So I thought it was a really lovely beginning to this message. I love that they started it by telling us we are on our way to liberation. We are on to somewhere better. And before we settle into liberation, they say there is an unsettling period we have to go through, a necessary, essential, unsettling period that actually helps us get to where we want to go. So I always appreciate when they give us the long view like this, when they're delivering some information about what is potentially going to be a challenging time. So one of the first things they talk about is liberation as a process, and specifically an active process. And I really kind of appreciate the way they frame that for us, because sometimes we can think of liberation as something that happens to us, not something we're actively engaged in. So here's what they said specifically. Liberation is an active process on the part of the individual to be liberated. The breaking free, the struggle, the short period of chaos, this is key. This is the path to liberation. You are on this path currently. So nice to be reminded that we can't just sit back and watch this unfold. We will be engaging with this somehow, and different people will be engaging with it in different ways, is my guess. And they say on the way to liberation, you know, as we're moving to something better, they talk about the what did they call it? A natural unsettling must occur. So they say, in order for you to settle into this next phase, first there is an unsettling period. This period is essential to liberation. A natural unsettling must occur for the deeply held roots, the solid, old, initial, outdated foundation to be taken down. And then they say, this is good. It's nice to be reminded that something that feels a little bit intimidating is actually good, right? They also mentioned that this period is temporary. For example, they say, they use the words passing through. This is something we will be passing through. It is temporary. And I think that's good to remember if we're in a period of time that feels unsettling, to remember that this is not going to be this way forever. This is a period of time that we're moving through. Another theme I noticed they talked about is they started talking about the bridge time. And if you've been watching my videos, you might remember the very first channel that I did a video for was all about a bridge. It started with the bridge. So this seems to be something they're coming back to as a way to talk us through getting from one place to another. And they say in this time, this specific bridge time, the shadows are visible. So they say, this is bridge time. This is the bridge in which many shadows are visible. These shadows are unsettling, yes. Seeing them is necessary. Seeing them is the necessary catalyst for the undoing that must follow. The undoing in the name of liberation. But they also tell us to remember the light. And they tell us that we're quite essential to this process. So they say, you are essential, you are energy, and you are for this time. Trust that you are for this time. I don't know if you could hear it in my voice during the channel, but like I had a wild rush of energy go through me when that came through. The you are for this time felt very powerful. So let me just unpack that a little bit. When they're saying you are for this time, I believe the intention there is to remind us that, like, this isn't something, troubling or challenging or bad that's happening to us. This is something that we're here for, that we are equipped to handle, that we are an essential part of. And that's a very different way to frame it, right? All of a sudden, that sort of gives a steadying energy. Like, I certainly feel the energy, like, okay, like, we're meant to go through this period, and it's really important that we engage with this period of time. Then they go on to talk about how this energy is going to grow. They talk about a slash of light in the darkness, which I thought was kind of a funny way to put it. But they mention the word slash of light a couple of times. And so I think that they're equating the slash of light to the liberation energy, is my interpretation. And so they talk a little bit about how the liberation energy can and can't grow. So let me just read a bit of that. They say it will not grow in a stale, stagnant energy. It will not grow within the confines of the current system. It is making room to grow, like roots sprouting from a seed and winding, reaching outward. This energy is steadying. This energy is moving outward, reaching outward, and taking hold so that it may grow. This is sacred work. I like the analogy of the seed because we may be in a time where we can't, doesn't feel like liberation yet, and may not for some time. And the seed analogy is perfect because there's so much going on underground before we actually see the sprout pop up above ground. And I think it's helpful for us to remember that there are things that we can't perhaps see happening. We can't see we can't see the beginning stages of this liberation process. And that doesn't necessarily mean that this energy isn't moving through, isn't growing, isn't reaching outward, isn't taking hold. So I also love that they say that this is sacred work. I believe that they're talking about a period of a takedown of some old, outdated systems that are really limiting people and their expansion, their humanity, serving few at the expense of the many. And because they've talked about that in lots of different ways, that's just my sense that that's what they're talking about here, is like a period of a takedown or a falling of systems that we're quite familiar with, and systems that are pretty big in society. And so to frame this as sacred work, I think is helpful because it may feel chaotic, right? This period of time. And to remember that it's not chaos just for the sake of chaos. This is sacred work, and we're on our way to somewhere better. And this is a bridge that we're moving through. Just makes it feel a little more palatable to me. They also talk about the importance to turn inward here, right? So let me read another little section. They say, do not forget to turn inward. You will feel compelled. You will feel urged, you will feel it necessary to move into this work in an external way. This is good, and do not forget the internal element of this work, the unyielding, the unshackling, the undoing of the constraints. I believe what they're actually speaking about here is the way we've internalized the systems that we operate in, all of the conditioning we've moved through and just sort of internalized around how to navigate the system, about how to be safe in the system. If the systems are changing, on the one hand, we might be like, hell yeah, that's going to be so good for humanity. On the other hand, we are currently entrenched in these systems. And so there's going to be some dicey, prickly moments for us as we confront probably some fears around safety, probably some internalized beliefs around the systems themselves. So there's this sort of outer active work for liberation, and then there's this internal work that's related to liberation. And I believe they're talking about sort of like a stripping down and releasing, and at least a softening of some of those conditions that we maybe aren't even fully aware are there. But boy, we'll be aware that they're there when we have to confront them, right? So they go on to say something about sort of like the sort of maybe like shocking or frightening nature of actually being confronted with all of the ways that we are limited by the systems that we operate within. And they ask us to just like allow this knowing, as uncomfortable as it is. So here's what they say. To be confronted with the systems that chain you, that limit you, to be an awareness of all that constrains you is both enlightening and frightening. Allow this insight, allow this knowing. This knowing plants the seed, this knowing sprouts the light. You are for this. Again, they come back to reminding us that, like, as uncomfortable as this is, like, you are for this time. So, to be confronted with the systems that limit us, what do they mean by that? My interpretation, yours may be different, but my interpretation of that is I sense that some fairly big, fairly unsettling things are going to come to light that we just didn't previously know about. This may be in government systems, corporations, financial systems. I don't know, some of those structures of hierarchy that they always talk about in a lot of these channels. I suspect that some unsettling things will come to light, and we will have to be confronted with that, with perhaps being manipulated, treated badly by some of these systems. We might see some of the malice that is a foundational part of some of these systems that serve few at the expense of many. So that's just my interpretation of what that means. So something's going to come to light, and we should allow that. And knowing, like allowing the knowing, is something that they say, what did they say again? This knowing sprouts the light. This knowing plants the seed. So the reason I think it's probably something coming to light, like us realizing something or something coming out, is like, I think it's going to cause like a bit of an uproar response. Like I think people are going to be really dismayed or angry about whatever may come forward. And that's an essential piece to this sort of revolution energy, is the clarity of knowing, and actually the like real violation of knowing that systems we believed were keeping us safe really are doing the opposite. That's probably going to light a fire for people, is my guess. So the last thing they go to after talking about that sort of shadowy revelation period is that we should trust in our liberation. Like when we feel spiky or scared or whatever, they say, this is the liberation, the active liberation this time. Trust in your liberation. Trust in the liberation of your children, your loved ones, for everyone. This is the bridge work. So they're really encouraging us that we are going somewhere better, that it's going to be better for all. And gosh, that's such a like legitimate concern for most, right? You have loved ones in your life that you don't want to go through a period of hardship. And so they're just encouraging us that this is a temporary period of passage. We are absolutely moving somewhere that has more liberation, and that we should trust that we will get there. And that's what this bridge work is about. They call it, at one time, they call this essential heart work. They even used the word heroic at one point, which I thought was interesting. So there's something going on here, I think, about a period coming where something comes to light, some systems start to shift, and people start to feel that spark of wanting to speak out, wanting to do something about it, and that is the seed that sprouts the light. I think it's a pretty great message. We've got the wide angle view and also the shorter view of this bridge period. If you would like to hear more messages like this, you can watch my past videos. You can join my Psychic Normies community at the link below here. Thanks for joining me for this one, and I'll see you next time.